Hey, bike racing fans, Jonny Sundt here at FloBikes Studios in Austin, Texas. And if you're anything like me, you're super excited. It's classic season and so much good content coming here on FloBikes. I watched the Omloop this weekend in Belgium, and we were treated to another really good classic race. It was a good way to kick off the season. And there's so much happens in these classic races, and it's really, you have to be so strong to make the selections and make the breaks. So this one came down to a really select group of really good riders. And one of the things that stood out to me was that it came down to about a minute of racing that really created the final selection, 17K from the finish. And I wanted to go back and look at this and slow it down and stop it a couple times and really dissect it. It looks like it's happening in slow motion, but there's a lot that gets packed into this 2 minutes of racing that really decided the race. And as we went into Geraardsbergen on the Kapelmuur, which was going to be the final deciding race, it's a classic climb that's been used in Flanders, been used in many spring classics. And as we're riding into town, Duquesne Quickstep has two riders in the break, and Tim de Klerk is doing yeoman's work, bringing them into the bottom of the climb. And you can see he's just absolutely putting the effort as they go over the bridge, over the railroad tracks. They're almost to the bottom of town. Huge big dig. He's been the one tasked to do the work onto the climb. And our final selection, Yves Lampaert, Tim de Klerk, Mike Teunissen, Frederik Frisson from Lotto, Matteo Trentin, and Jasper Stuyven from Trek. As we climb up through the carnival, the group is still together. Trentin is on the back. De Klerk has done the work. He comes off. He is absolutely cooked here. He did the yeoman's work coming into town. There's a little bit of flat ground before we turn onto the Kapelmuur proper, and de Klerk is done. So with de Klerk drop, still not a lot of fireworks. You can see they're really closely grouped here. This is a little bit of flat ground right before we turn onto the Kapelmuur proper. And here's the Kapelmuur proper. De Klerk clawing his way back on. They go out of shot here, and watch as they come back into frame. The pace is going up from Yves Lampaert, and immediately he's put Frisson in trouble. De Klerk is still right there chasing on, but absolutely cooked. But Frisson is already feeling it as they go on there. Lampaert is in control. Stuyven right to the wheel. Peterson is there, Trentin, and Teunissen. We keep going up. Now this climb just ratchets up a little bit as it goes towards the top, and you can see the gaps. De Klerk fighting his way back on. Frisson coming off pretty rapidly as they cut around the corner. And as soon as they come back into view, you'll see here that Yves Lampaert, he does the head check. He's checking, he's seeing who's there. He knows he's got Jasper Stuyven on his wheel. He wants to get rid of Trentin. Anyone in this group doesn't want to sprint Trentin at the end. So now Yves Lampaert, his teammate's done the work. He goes to work. You see Stuyven move right up, shows him the wheel, and he goes forward. He's trying to put Trentin in trouble here, and you can see he's already distanced Teunissen. He's got Trentin on the ropes. As we get the graphic here, now you can see like Trentin has fully come off. Teunissen is in the background. He's gone, and you're seeing the drag race about to start as we go up the final parts of the Kapelmuur between Stuyven and Yves Lampaert. You see Teunissen just struggling, and here we go. Now this is a great shot, and this is a section that I like so much. This is the drag race between Yves Lampaert and Jasper Stuyven. These two riders, from here to the top of the climb, pretty much rode side by side, trying to drop each other in just a classic throwdown. And from there, it was, we'll just move it forward here, just the power these two riders put down. Neither of them acquiescing and getting on the wheel of the other. Stuyven gets around the corner a little bit, but Lampaert comes right back up to him, and they're racing each other at this point, not even really concerned about who's behind, but they're doing so much damage. As you can see, the gaps open up, and you can see as they come around the top, around the citadel, they're still neck and neck, and they're just these last few little steep pitches to make it, and there's over the top, and it's downhill, and they're just fighting each other every bit of the way. They both want to lead. They both want to push the pace. Peterson has done a great job to stay on. Trentin thoroughly dropped. And now we get this pull-away shot, and you can see the gaps as we come over the top. This is downhill from here. You've got your two leaders. Anderson has done a good job. He's right there and moving forward. I'll move the camera just a little bit forward here, and he makes it back on. Trentin is right here. It's Anderson. This is maybe 100 meters. And that is the difference between making the group that goes and contests the finish. And Trentin did a great job rolling and trying to chase. They just kept it at bay, but that was that 100 meters that all took. And you can see as they go over the top, Anderson has made it back on. He's on the wheels, and this was all it took. This was a race of 5 hours that came down to 30 seconds of racing, not even a minute of racing on the Kapelmuur. Anderson did such a good job of putting himself back on there. Trentin dug so deep, and he chased for the next almost 17 kilometers, and they just couldn't make it back to the group. They didn't want him there. Obviously, that's part of being a marquee sprinter who's gotten so many good results last year. They knew they didn't want Trentin there. Another interesting note, Tim de Klerk, he did so much work in the early part of that, and we saw him, he was blown coming into there. He had to do a lot of work early because Wout van Aert's group was getting close early on. He still came back past Tunison and Frisson and was 5th in the race and was not caught by the other chasing group. So probably a ride of the day from Tim de Klerk in the role of super domestique and showing what you can do with a wolf pack. Now, Stuyven did win the race. He was the strongest in the sprint. He let it out. The wolf pack did come back and win the next day in KBK, but it was just something I looked at. I wanted to share with you. It seems when you just watch it in the race, you see it coming apart, but there's so much that happened in that 1 minute of racing. So I wanted to look at it and check it out. Now, I want you to remind you as well, we have so much good racing coming up on FloBikes, a lot of sprint classics. Tirreno Adriatico is coming, Paris-Nice. So make sure you check the schedule and join us here as we really rip into the spring classic seasons. Thanks for joining us.